Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today got another little quick project I'm doing. I'm trying to knock out some little quick, easy things here, kind of between projects. Just finished up the cane mill, getting ready to start on some other things, but I got a bunch of little just small things that I've been putting off doing that needs to be done. This is another project for a viewer that they sent in quite some time ago. They asked if I could help out with. And what they sent in was a tap wrench, tap handle, made by Greenfield Tap and Die that's actually got a broken piece in there, and he asked if I could make it. Fairly simple part. It is going to require heat treating. I've got the heat treat oven set up. I said, you know what? This is going to be the time to go ahead and just knock this out while I got the oven set up over there. So I've actually got some tool steel that I ordered for this part that's sitting over here waiting to be done. So let's get in here and do this. Let me zoom in here, show you what the problem is, show you the part, and we're going to get busy making this part. We're going to have to heat treat it and hopefully get this thing ready to ship out and get it off of my list because it's been here, like I said, way too long. So again, what we've got is a number 6 tap handle made by Greenfield Tap and Die. And the problem is that this piece down here on the bottom is cracked. It's got a piece here that the tap goes into, and it is broken. It's a very nice little tap handle. It's got the case hardening colors on here, which I really like it when you can find them like that. I got a few of them in my collection that are like that as well. So let's see if we can get that out. There's a little screw here on the side. I believe you just undo that, and there's a little indentation in there, and I think it just drops right out. Let me see if we can get that out of there. So we'll take a little screwdriver here, put up in there. I'm just going to take that little set screw completely out. Here we go. And like I said, that should just fall right out now. There we go. You can see the problem more clearly here where that has just busted in two. It's in 2 pieces. So again, today's project is going to be making a new one of these. And to make it from, I've got a piece of A2 tool steel here, 5/8 by 3/4 by 12. If I remember right, this is just a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit over, a little bit wide in that direction, but I think it is more or less the right thickness. So we're going to do some milling on this. This should be in its annealed state, so it should be machinable like it is. And once we machine it, we will go and heat treat it. So I think we will start by, I think I'm going to start by making a little drawing of this so I know exactly what I got to do, and then we're going to go cut this piece of metal off. I only need a little short piece off the end, and we'll go to the milling machine and start machining it. So this is 5/8, 0.625, and the other direction 0.625, so it's 5/8 square. All right, and the length on this is about 950 thousandths. And that's really, I think, all I need to know. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to cut this off 1 inch long, and we're going to have to mill the 3/4 side down to 5/8. And Ginger is up here supervising, making sure I'm not making any mistakes. Thank you, Ginger, for your assistance. And Ginger's needing to be paid for his consulting fee for coming up here right now, so I'm settling up my debts. I'll be back to work in just a minute. All right, I went and zipped the piece off over there on the bandsaw, so I think we're ready to go to the milling machine. We'll go ahead and get this machine down, that 3/4 side machine down to 5/8, and then we can work on putting our little 45-degree notch in there. We're going to set this up over here in the milling machine. I'm going to start by putting a parallel down here in my vise, And we're going to stick this little piece on top of that. That way it should be running parallel to the table. I'll clamp it in. Right now we're at 3/4 of an inch. We need to take it to 5/8. I think I want to leave it just a little bit on the thick side so that we can kind of grind it to that final thickness. So need to take 125 thousandths off. We'll probably take about maybe 110 or something and leave about 10 thousandths on there. I'm just going to drop that down till it's touching. I'm going to zero out my digital readout on the Z-axis so that I can tell how far I'm going. And we'll just mill this right off. For another 25. I could probably go more than that. I'm being a little bit easy on the tools. That tool steel, even though it's in this annealed state, still pretty hard stuff. That's 100 thou. I'm gonna take another. Let's take another 10. We'll go to 110. About right there. And this will be our final pass on that thickness. All right. Let's clean up here just a little bit, and we'll pull that out. It should be just a little bit over 5/8 of an inch. Yeah, so about 15 thou. That'll leave me some room to grind. And now what I need to do is, we'll just grind the ends and the length once we get over on the surface grinder after we harden it. But now what we need to do is tilt this up at 45 degrees so that we can cut that little notch in there. Let me figure out how I'm going to get that set up. So now I want to set this up at 45 degrees. I've got a 45 degree triangle here that's been machined and ground and everything that's exactly at 45, and I'm just going to kind of put it up underneath this and clamp this all together, and that will get that piece put in there at 45 degrees where we can actually mill out that little notch in the front. And I want the milled side that I just milled to be on the top because I'm going to grind that to final thickness. So I think what we'll do now is come in here and start nibbling out that 45 degree area in there. All right, here we go. I'm just going to kind of start working right across the front of this. We'll raise the table up a little bit. And I think I'm just going to go with about 25 thou. I don't want to get too aggressive here. I'm just going to nibble it out a little bit at a time. I don't have a whole lot of support in there. I don't want it moving around on me. We're getting close down here to the bottom, and I think I'm going to stop right there. Here we go. I got a little bit of meat in there, but we'll clean that up on the surface grinder once we get to that point. So the last thing I want to do here before we do our heat treating is put that little set screw dimple in there. Just got a center drill here. We're going to use to spot that hole. I just took a square and went between the corners to find the center of it. And change that out, put in a 1/4 inch drill bit, and we'll just use that to get down in there. I'm going to speed up my mill though. Let's see. And we just need a little dimple there for that set screw to go into. That should do it. All right, I think we are ready to go to heat treat. We got our part here ready to go into the oven. Before we do, I do want to put it into a little foil pouch. This will protect it from oxidation, keeping the oxygen off of it. This is just some stainless steel foil that it will take the temperature of the heat treat oven. It's actually made for heat treating. Stainless steel foil wrap. I think I ordered it from McMaster-Carr. We'll put this in here. We're going to make a little pouch, and I'm going to put a little piece of paper in here. I've shown this before. Basically, what that piece of paper does is, as this heats up, any air that's trapped inside this foil will be used to burn up this paper as it gets to that temperature, and then that will keep a air-free and oxygen-free environment inside of here, so we don't get any oxidation going on with our part. So we'll just kind of fold this over. I just kind of make a little pouch here for it. We'll kind of fold this over. Be careful, this stuff is sharp and it will cut you. Go around and make sure that's sealed up really good. And no, I didn't penetrate. I got a little sharp corner right there, but it didn't break through, so I think we're good there. So go ahead and put this into the oven. I'm going to take my foil pouch and my part. I'm going to put it in the oven. I've got it sitting in there. There's a little bench in there that's kind of leaning up where it's sitting, not sitting on the floor. I got air circulating all the way around it. And I've got here the instructions for A2 tool steel for hardening it. Basically, it says to preheat to 1450 to 1500 degrees. Once you've got it at that temperature preheated, you want to raise the temperature to 1750 to 1800 and hold it at that for about 20 to 25 minutes per inch of thickness. So we're going to start by taking this up to, let's take it up to 1450. So I'm going to just do this manually. You can program this thing, but this is a pretty simple program. So I'm just going to manually run this up to 1450, and then we will, we're just going to manually do it. All right, 1450 degrees. The top number is the temperature inside the oven right now, which is 60 degrees. We're going to 1450. I'm going to go to program. No, I do not want to run a program. We're going to run this in manual mode. Run. I want to click up and say yes. That will actually run the program. I'm going to enable my heat, and it's going, and you should see that top number start to climb here. And it's just going to ramp it up to 1450 degrees. I'm going to keep an eye on this, and when it gets to 1450, we'll probably let it sit there for about 30 minutes, and then we'll raise it up to the final temperature, and again, let it sit there for 20-30 minutes, and then we can do our quench. And with A2, this is actually air hardening tool steel, so you don't quench it in water or oil like you do an oil O2 or something like that. We're just going to let it cool down in the air. Basically, you quench it in the air, and it says you can either just let it sit in still air, or you can blast it with compressed air. I usually just let it sit in still air and let it cool down, and that's all you need to do on A2. So anyway, it's climbing up. We'll let it get to 1450 and hold for 30 minutes. We've been holding at 1450 degrees Fahrenheit here for about 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to the actual temperature that we need to go to. We're just going to take it up 1800 degrees. So I just run this on up manually. There we go, and you can see the oven's already climbing up to get to that temperature. And I'm going to let it raise up there and hold there for at least 20, probably 30 minutes. And then we'll pull it out and do our quench. So we'll be back here in a little bit. So we've had this running now for a good 30 minutes, probably about 40 minutes actually. I'm going to go ahead and disable my heat. I'm going to open up the door. We're going to pull our part out, and it is red hot. I'm just going to kind of set it over here on the vise, and we're just going to let it cool down. I'm also going to leave the oven door open and let it cool down, because we need to get it cooled down to 1000 degrees to do the tempering, which will be the next step. So we're just going to let this cool down in the air naturally, and we'll come back in a little bit and do our tempering. So we'll just let things cool down for a little bit. All right, this is cooled down. It is still warm, but it's not so hot that it'll burn me. According to instruction, when it gets down to about 125 degrees, you want to immediately temper it. And again, according to my instructions for the hardness I'm going for, I said 1000 degrees a while ago, but 900 degrees is where we're actually going to go for. So we're going to put it in here. I'm going to enable my heat back again, and it should start taking it up to that 900 degree temperature mark. And we're just going to let this sit in here for about 2 hours and just soak at that temperature. And after 2 hours, I will come over here, I will turn the heat off, I'll disable the heat, and we'll just let it cool down real slow, probably overnight, and our part will be nice and hard, and we can continue on with our project. All right, we've had this in here for a good 2 hours. I'm going to turn my heat off, and we're going to go ahead and open it up. I'm just going to pull it out and set it out here again and let it just cool down naturally in the air. I'll tell you what, we'll just leave that open and shut it down. We're through with the oven. So we're going to let that cool down again, and when we get it cooled down this time, we should be tempered to the hardness that we're wanting, and we'll be ready to take it over and start doing some grinding on it. Okay. Well, we've let this cool down again, so let's open it up and see what we got inside. See the ash from my paper coming out, and it looks like we didn't really have much oxidation, maybe just a little bit right there, but not too bad at all. Now that should be about, what is that, Rockwell 55 or so, based on the directions that I have over there. It'll be fine whatever it is, but I think we're ready now to take this to the surface grinder and finish it up. Well, just out of curiosity, I'm going to check this with my little hardness tester, my little PTC tester. This will give me closest to what the hardness is. We first put a little indentation in there using that spring-loaded center punch, and then I just look down my little microscope piece here, and I can look at a scale in there and estimate the hardness. Let's see what it says. All right, I've got it loaded up here, and I'm going to say it's around 57 Rockwell, and according to my thing here, 55 to 58 is what it says, so we should be, so that's right in the range. So there we go. All right, to the surface grinder. We're over at the Thompson Surface Grinder. I need to get this thing fired up. It's been a while since I've used this, so I need to just kind of get her going, get it warmed up. Probably need to go ahead and dress my wheel, which has got a wheel dresser built into it, and then we can start grinding that part. So let me get this fired up and going. Start with the spindle. Oh, let me turn it on. I have a disconnect back there to disconnect the transformer. There we go. Got coolant running. Turn on my hydraulics. And I'm just going to let this run for a little while and just warm up and kind of get going. It's been a while since I've used it, so I just want to let it get warmed up a little bit. So we'll let it run. All right, I'm going to put my part down here on the mag chuck, and I'm going to turn that on. I got that down good. I'm going to raise my stone up just a little bit. And there we go. Now I got my wheel where I'm just able to move this over kind of by hand. And let me move my table back by hand as well. Lower this down until it just barely kisses. A little bit more than what I wanted. I'm going to take my wheel back and slowly engage my feed, my table going back and forth. A little coolant. And we're going to let that go across. I'm going to feed down just a little bit. I just want to barely touch this side until it just barely cleans up. I'm just dropping it down on about 1,000ths at a time here. And I saw a little spark come off there. We're real close. There we go. Just release a little bit more. I just want to barely clean this side up. I'm going to move my stone back across it by hand here a couple of times. And we'll just kind of do this until it sparks out. I've already dressed the wheel. Take it out where I can work on the air. Stop my wheel on a feed, turn my coolant off. I clean it off here. I'm going to release my mag chuck. There we go. I'm going to check this measurement. So we're about 642.5. So I got about 17 thousandths of down feed to get that to proper size. So go ahead and put this back in here. We'll engage my chuck. All right, we should be chuck down there, mag down. And I'm just looking at where I'm at over here. We should still be touching on this side. I need to go about 17.5 thousandths. I'm starting at about 70 on my dial here. So I need to go to about 87. So let's get our coolant going again. So it should just be barely kissing right here. I saw a few little sparks come off, but not much, which is kind of what I expected. All right, let's start down feeding. We're just going to give it a couple of thousandths. Whoa! Hit it a little bit harder than I thought I was there. We're fine. That. Turn our coolant off. Take a squeegee here, just kind of clean the surface off a little bit. We're right on 650, which is where I want to be at. Now the other direction, I am just only about 2 thousandths oversized. So I'm going to just barely kiss these sides to get them to the right thickness. I'm just barely dropping that head down. I just want to get that side where it cleans up all the way across. I may be dropping in 1/4 of a thou per pass, just very, very lightly. Now I just want to barely kiss this side as well, so we're going to do the same thing again. Alright, there's our ground part, at least on the outside edges. I'm going to go make sure this fits into the block alright, and then we're going to do the ends and get that 45 ground in there. We'll start with the back side of it. Let me go check it for fit, and we'll come back. All right, I'm over at my surface plate, and what I want to do is get this block mounted on this other block so that I can grind the top of this square. So basically I just need to, I'm going to set it down flat while I'm working on this. Let's see what we need to do. I'm going to, see, we don't have any dowels that I can put into this particular jig, so we'll just clamp it in place and then we'll use a square to square it up. So I'm just going to take a clamp here. I'm going to snug that down. All right, now we're going to flip this up and I'm going to get a square that I can bump that up against, and we're going to get that bumped up square so that when we grind the top it'll be square to the other face. And I'm going to bump that up against there. I'm going to loosen this up just a little bit. I've got it pressed up against the square. And now I'm tightening it down, and I'm just going to take a flashlight, put behind that, and make sure I'm not getting any light in there. All right, and no light. So I think we are square. And now we can go to the surface grinder. I can chuck this down flat, and we can grind the top of that, and that should make that nice and square. So let's go grind that in. Barely kissing it in a couple of places there. All right, now I'm going to just slowly down feed, again about a 1/4 of a thou per pass here. I did dress my wheel off camera, so we got a fresh grind on there. And I just want to get this cleaned up nice and square. That was a rough cut back there. let's go get set up to do our 45 cut now. All right, we're back over here at our grinding block, and we need to get this thing reset. We're going to flip it around, but this time we're going to put it in there at a 45-degree angle to grind that mouth nice and square. So I'm just going to snug it right now. I'm going to flip it back up here, and let me get a 45 to reference that on, and we'll get that set. So to set this to the 45-degree angle, I've got a precision ground 45-degree square here, and I've got it up on a parallel just to get it up high enough. And guys, I'm going to just note, the work I'm doing here, this is not anything that's got to be super, super critical. It's not like I'm going to have to come in here and do indication and all that kind of stuff to get it all trued up perfect. I need to get this close, and this is going to be overkill for what I'm really shooting for. So we're just kind of going to go with it. So that is should be set where we got that 45-degree angle in there. And now we can go to the grinder. And I'm going to grind one side. Probably going to flip it over and then grind the other side. And where I'm grinding on the bottom more so than the back. And I probably ought to dress the back side of my wheel or the front side of my wheel, whichever one I'm going to go into. Probably the front side of my wheel so that it's got a little bit of a back angle to it. I'm going to try it without it and see if we can get away with it, just to save a little bit of time. Again, it's not anything that critical on getting it just absolutely perfect here. So let's go back to the grinder. So guys, I'm just going to take a machinist square and I'm going to square up my grinding block here to this. And I will note that this chuck is not necessarily square to the ways. This has not been ground in or anything, but it's just going to get me close enough. I'm not going to be counting on this backside of this wheel being parallel here. I'm worried about being parallel to the table. So we'll come back and regrind the other one. We'll just go up to that shoulder as far as we can, just barely touch it, and then we'll flip it around and do the other side. That'll be, again, close enough for what we're trying to accomplish here. I got my part bagged down to the table, and let's bring our wheel in here. I'm going to have to raise it up a little bit, I think. All right. I want to be just right before the side of the wheel starts cutting it. All right, we're getting a little bit of a side wheel action going there now. And just about cleaned up the bottom, but I am going to drop it down just a little bit. So I'm just doing about a half a thou here per pass. We are cleaned up all the way across that bottom. And now I want to go back out. And I'm just going to let that cut its way back out. And here we go on the other side. I'm dropping my wheel down till we just touch off. Right there. Get a little action going there. Get a little coolant going here. All right, I've gone as far in as I want to. I'm not quite cleaned up on the bottom, so I'm gonna bring my head down just a little bit. Again, we're just going to go down about 1/4 of a thou per pass until I see it clean up all the way across the bottom. I think we're there. All right, I'm going to bring my wheel back out now. Just let it grind on its way out. And I think we're done. Shut everything down, clean everything up, and let's go check it out and see if it'll work. All right, I think we are ready to put this back together. I got my set screw on the bottom there. See if we can get this in here. It fit a while ago. There we go. Put that in place. Get our little set screw back in place. And there we go. That centers up on it very nicely. And that should hold a tap. So I think we've got her done. All right. It wasn't so bad. Well, there we go. One Greenfield number 6 tap wrench repaired, headed back, and hopefully will withstand the test of time and hold up to the repair. This, by the way, was for Eddie Wilson in Madison, Mississippi. He sent this to me a while back and asked if I could help with it, and I told him I would. And I apologize, Eddie, it has taken so long to get to this, but I am glad to finally be able to cross it off my board over there. I've had it on there for quite some time. No real excuses other than it just needed to take the time to do it. And like I said, I'm trying to get some of these little small jobs knocked out while I'm kind of in between some of my bigger jobs. And I get my list down over there to a little bit more of a manageable size. So Eddie, I'll get this headed back in the mail to you. Appreciate it very much. Hope you guys enjoyed that little project. And with that, we're going to sign off. That'll be it. Guys, that'll be a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thumbs up, comments, always greatly appreciated. It helps out with the algorithms on YouTube a lot. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal. It does enable me to be able to take the time to be able to shoot these videos and do all the editing and all the other work that goes along besides just doing the work in the shop. It is a considerable amount of time. And with that, we are going to sign off and get out of here. We'll catch you guys on the next video. As always, again, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.